Okay, so now it's February 4th. You can see what's going on here. These are these wonderful hams. Sorry, yams. These wonderful yams. Okay, like I'm really impressed. So I just put in the box, got out of the box. I'm putting in here just to get them fitted in. And then now what I'm going to, because I'm going to go back to back to back. Okay, this is, I got probably about 3 more trays of this. And then we get into the sweet potatoes. All right. The sweet potato box doesn't seem to be as big as this box. Now, I don't know if that's because a sweet potato is more dense than a yam, but these themselves are technically not a true yam, from my understanding. Okay? They're just a crossbred of a sweet potato that are orange, but people distinguish them as yams. Okay. So anyway, take them to the sink, wash them, scrub them, cut off what needs to be cut off, right? And because you've already washed and scrubbed and sliced, you don't have to worry about poking them, okay? Otherwise, you'd have to poke them, because if you put them in whole, like a potato, without poking, it's going to explode in the oven, right? So anyway, after that, put a little bit of water in there. And now that I have my oven, I know my voice sounds tired, people. It is what it is. But now that I have my oven, they're both going into the oven. And then once they're done, you cool them down, you peel them, you mash them, you put them on your dehydrator, you dehydrate for a long time, you bust them up, you dehydrate them again for quite a while, and then you run them through some kind of a chopper, blender, whatever, food processor, and then you jar them up, okay? And you've got it, okay? Now, I think I will do a little video today. Okay, while I'm doing this, you know, I get lonely, right? Oh yeah, I think I'm going to put the title on this video, What Will YouTube Do? Because Amari's getting older now, okay? Now, by the time I'm done talking, I might just upload this video and go on to the next video. Because once I get on a subject, we know I can talk on about it for a little while anyway, right? So the subject is basically Amari. And, you know, YouTube. Because I do a lot of videos, especially when I'm in here, people, right? And there's activity going on in the background and shit, okay? So what I'm trying to say is I want to start playing my records. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, for Amari. And I've got all kinds of records, people, you don't know. But, like, I'll play children records, I'll play piano records, I'll play funk records, I'll play country records, I'll play rock and roll records, I'll play jazz records, I'll play so many different kinds of records that you don't know what kind of record is going to be playing in the background when I do a video. Because I'm not going to be doing this, want to turn on the camera, but before I do that, run off to my turntable, lift up my needle on my record so I can run back here and pick up where I left off. It ain't happening, okay? Now, we know YouTube has taken it upon themselves to start putting their advertisements on my channel. We've discovered that a while back, okay? Do I go looking for it? No, I don't. Can I do anything about it? Well, I suppose when I sit down and I write the CEO of Google, then maybe we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But in the meantime, no. So, if they're going to put ads on my videos, I don't mind if they do that when there's music. Like, you know, out an event, doing a park event, you know, doing something outside of a business, right? Going to an event that relates to what I work on, you know, like Occupy Vancouver, right? Playground restoration. But you see, the problem with that is once I start doing shit like that, I get all these copyrights. Oh my God, people, it used to give me a bloody nervous breakdown. It brought me down to a point where I just didn't want to go out in the community and do anything. I just stopped. That was one of the reasons I kind of stopped, because, you know, you invest all this money and time and energy and just do whatever you do, and then you come back and You upload your videos, you put them onto YouTube, and next thing you know it, you're in fucking, I don't know where you are, but it's so stressful. Back in the day, right? Because you'd have to try and get them released, they mute them, they shadow ban them. Well, it's more like the muting. I don't care if they put an ad on it, people. I really don't. I'm not trying to steal people's music. Okay? The federal trademark gives the right for the foundation to go out there and do things in the community, which happens to involve music, right? It's a celebration. Now, am I celebrating in my house when I have my turntable playing? No. But you see, here's the thing. Amari would benefit from it, okay? As it is, I've got the computer on, I'm listening to this and listening to that, and you can hear it sometimes in the background, and his brain is developing, and he needs that, right? Because he interprets sound differently than we do. And for mind development, music it increases his intelligence just in general. So I think I'm going to clear off my turntable today. And I'm just going to do it, people. And if YouTube wants to mute the whole video with their copyright because so-and-so said they can't put an ad on it because I happened to play the wrong record, basically. Wasn't like I was intentionally trying to do that, but, I'm just going to randomly pick records and just start incorporating them into the day. Not all day long, but for a couple, 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on what's going on in the day. And that's mainly, honestly, right now, because I have to go back and forth, and I got to pull out records and shit, right? And blah, blah, blah. It's for the benefit of Amari. So, am I going to get penalized for that, people? Accused of trying to, I don't know what they're thinking, but anyway. So don't be surprised if you don't start hearing music in the background. And I'm getting a little stressed out with it because YouTube is on a mission to, I don't know what, like I say, mute my video. That's if they put an ad on, I don't care, right? If they mute my video, then yeah, I do. Because they don't have a right to the whole video, and, I'm not going to take out a section of a song so that you can't hear what's going on in the middle of it, right? Like it doesn't make sense. So I don't know. But I do want to do that for Mari, okay? For his brain development. And I've been wanting to do it for actually quite a long time. But honestly, YouTube kind of holds me back because, of my past fears and experiences with them doing their copyrights and freaking the heck out of me, I used to get so stressed out with it. Oh, man. And then you'd get it released, and then 2 years, 3 years go by, and they'd freaking mute it again. I got one video that should not be muted from Playground Restoration that's still muted, people. So that's kind of what I want to do, and I want to do it for his brain. Just have it playing, right? Go, whatever, right? I don't want the radio. I don't want the static. I just want music, right? I don't care if it's Mozart or, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, right? Or whatever. Blues. I got some nice blues. I don't know where they are. I kind of move things around as usual. I know where they are. They're just, my records aren't organized because when I did have them organized, I had to put them away because at one point Sierra was finding a way to steal them, so I had to hide them. That's what happened. And when I moved them, they got disorganized. But I got some really nice harmonic blues. Oh, I can't think of his name right now. John Penny? Oh, no. I don't know if that's the right name. But I got some nice harmonica blues. Oh, yeah. Stuff like that. So he hears it. And then his brain develops. And now it's even more urgent for me to do this because I've been wanting to do it. We know what's been holding me back psychologically, right? But I have to just take a chance, people. Okay? You want to monetize? Here's your chance. Monetize the video. Okay? In terms of if there's a music and they want a copyright and there's an ad comes up, so be it. It's good to support the artist. I have no problem with that, people. is when I get suppressed, where the problem comes in. Now, Tisha took Amari to the pediatrician yesterday. And, you know, these doctors, they have their little protocols, right? So, what I'm saying is, he suggested that, you know, oh no, he didn't suggest. I think he asked, or I don't know if he suggested, I wasn't there, either or. He said to Tisha that, you know, maybe Amari should see the neurologist. Right? That's the one I get, I kind of got lost in the fray. Okay? That I forget about. But he's there now. He's not there, but the pediatrician said maybe, you know, we should be, because what it is when children are born with cerebral palsy, right? And I remember having this conversation with this neurologist, okay? You know, their brains are damaged because of lack of oxygen, okay? Amari's is all up in here, okay? And he got it pretty bad, all right? Anyway, they did the MRI. The first one was botched. We know that. They did the MRI at the Children's Hospital. That's when I met the neurologist for that purpose. And I remember having a conversation with him that at some point in the future, there was no definite time on it. At some point, the doctor, I guess, would want to do a follow-up to see if the brain had changed and deteriorated, or if it was still pretty much the same. And I'm like, well, you got your one MRI. That's what you wanted to determine what was wrong with him. We're good to go. Because I don't want my grandson to be a pincushion to nobody. Okay? Some monkey in a monkey tube. All right? So that a corporation can make profit off of his misery. He is who he is. Whatever you're suggesting could happen to anybody. That's what I said to him. People develop Alzheimer's. People develop dementia. Right? People get aneurysms. People get all kinds of stuff going on in their brain. They develop chemical imbalances that could lead to schizophrenia. Just the whole 9 yards. So you can't use my grandson's physical state that technically was created by the healthcare system through negligence, whether on purpose or not has remained to be seen. Okay? I got mad. People. So therefore, you can't exploit him just because it's written into the budget. Because if that's the case, if that's what you're looking to see, if his brain is deteriorating, as if you're going to do anything more for him than what you're already fucking doing as a team, as a quote-unquote team, when in fact, in reality, I'm the one that does 99% of the work around here, okay? Right? In the real world, right? You know, I think I would be the first one to notice if Amari's mind was deteriorating. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you give him an MRI now, because you can, because the government pays for it and says that you can, not because he needs it, but because you can. There's a difference between he needs it and they can. He's not showing signs of deterioration mentally. If anything, he's meeting milestones, right? In terms of thinking and communicating and interacting and all those things, exploring his environment and just whatever, right? If he was deteriorating, we'd see that. Then I'd be concerned and I'd say, well, please, can you do this? And that's where that funding should be applicable, but not to go look for something, because if that's the case, you might as well call everybody in at a certain age and look in their brains with an MRI for something, because sooner or later something is going to happen to somebody. Oh, but it might not happen till he's 20. Well, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right? People, See, this is where having a disabled child is kind of scary, because you've got these doctors that, you know, say they don't make extra money by requesting all these tests or whatever, because, you know, they're on a income contract with the government because of the type of healthcare system that we have out here. But that isn't necessarily true, because as soon as they book in their x-rays, this, that, and everything else, the hospital that they work with get paid for those services, right? We know that. And, you know, if they write prescriptions, they make money on the prescription, okay? There's perks along the way, people. And when you have a disabled, I don't know, you know, I was thinking about the elderly too, right? Not just the children, right? But when you have a disabled child, you know, it's very easy to have that happen simply because they can do it, and it doesn't necessarily benefit Amari. Because as far as I'm concerned, he's not experiencing seizures. He never has. He's not, what is that called? Digressing backwards into a, you know, a retarded state because his brain is shriveling up. If anything, he's reaching out and grabbing things, and he's laughing, and he's being cocky. You heard him freaking communicating with me just a few days ago on one of my videos. What are you doing, Amari? Right? You know, he was talking to me, people. That's how he talks. Plus, when he's he's singing, people. That's how he sings. So this is why I should be playing these records, because he's at a growth spurt right now. I can see it. Not only that, but he's getting fucking longer and heavier and lankier, right? So, you know, for as much as my landlords are stressing out, I'm stressing out more, because I'm the one that has to clear out shit so that I can navigate with him. I can still carry him. He takes after his mom. He's lightweight, right? He's not like Tisha, heavy as a rock. Their dads were different. But there's, you know, coming to a time when I won't be able to fucking carry him. And so, you know, it's a progression. It's a progression. And right now he's going through a growing spurt, and I can see it. And so anyway, the subject of the neurologist came up. But I remember talking to that guy, and I said, well, it ain't happening until it needs to happen, period. That's just the way it's going to be. Because I'm not going to risk you doing another MRI. You got your one. You wanted to know what was wrong with him. Now you know. That was the excuse. They had to have the MRI before they could confirm that he had cerebral palsy, even though they knew from the very fucking beginning, people. And then, once it was determined, they quickly signed him up to their research program at the Children's Hospital with the hip surgery, under their hip surveillance program. Okay, they created they started forming their hip surveillance program in 2015. It actually originates from Switzerland or someplace like that. It's not even Canadian initiated. The Children's Hospital in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, is adopting a program that's already established somewhere else. And they started formulating that situation in 2015, and then they gathered up all the kids in the province that were scattered around with cerebral palsy, and they put them all under one roof in 2016 at Children's Hospital with their protocol as a research study, operating on them when they're young, before they even show any symptoms, to prevent pain. That's the research, people. Okay? Because they're going to have to operate anyway based on the severity of his disability. So why not do it younger, when their bones are still fusing together at a quicker rate versus than when they're older? That's how they justify it. And of course there's risks, no guarantees, quite possibly death, right? It's a low percentage, but it's there, right? And then Amari was born in 2017, in my opinion, through negligence, with purposeful intent to fill a slot, people. And I'm left with the consequences of that, okay? So, if he's not showing seizures, You know, he's healthy, right? Why would you want to do another MRI to see if his brain is deteriorating? Obviously, it's not. But as soon as I put the heels to the ground, you know, they're losing out money. The hospital is losing out money. You get good money to run an MRI on a child, right? Because they have to put him to sleep. And that MRI just might be the trigger to bring on seizures. And then what? Who's left holding the bag? Me. Without them taking any responsibility for what they done. So, I can see Amari is kind of in a growth spurt here all the way around. So I want to play the records because that will help it will stimulate his brain. Versus having this yakety yak going back on in the background with the computer. I'm going to turn off the computer and I'm going to do what's right. And if YouTube wants to mute the video because of some song that was randomly played on my turntable, well, then I guess I'll have to cross that bridge when I get to it, people. I'll just let you know what's going on, okay? So I'm warning you now, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it because I'm looking for attention and thinking I'm fucking cool, because it has nothing to be about being cool. It has about putting these doctors at bay. Hold on a minute. No, you don't need an MRI because guess what? Amari can do this and this and this, and the music that he's hearing over a period of months and years will help to stimulate his mental growth. This stuff I'm doing here, I'm only doing for a little while more, people. And then I told you, I'm going to spin off somewhere else and start doing something else. And that's just assuming that I don't get attacked from somewhere else. Because I'm not out of the woods yet. Okay? In terms of we don't know who's going to spring out of the bushes next. You go into my videos. It wouldn't be uncommon. So I'm kind of working on pins and needles right now. I've got the food-based situation covered, pretty much. I'm going to upload this video, okay? We know what I'm doing today, all right? I got the food base basically covered. Almost woke up the whole freaking neighborhood with a whole bunch of clanging jars. And I know, I broke down, I admit it. I just purchased, okay, 50 pounds, people, of cornmeal. And I don't even eat fucking cornmeal, okay? From nut.com. It's an American outlet. And when I phoned them up over their mung beans, their product was a little more up to date versus if I would have ordered them out here, you know, I could have gotten something from 2020 or 2021. Whereas this one, when it comes in, I'm hoping it won't be as far back in terms of when it was packaged. I'm hoping it was within the last 1 to 6 months. And plus it was actually, believe it or not, a little cheaper to buy from them, American money, than to buy out here and have it shipped to my house. And then quite possibly get an older product for whatever reason. And you're probably wondering why I did that. Well, I'll tell you why. Because I don't keep my head in the sand. That's the first thing. I don't care what some people say around me, you know, it gets on my nerves, but at the end of the day, when the shit hits the fucking fan, you're going to be asking me for something. Okay? So, being that Andre likes to eat, and, you know, flatbreads and that kind of stuff, he likes that kind of stuff, right? And corn is going to be, well, it's already in short supply, especially in British Columbia, Canada, with the grain feed for the animals in short supply to the point where it's almost an emergency. Okay? And everything else that's going on, I just thought it would be good to have that because you can, and I have the mill, you can grind, this is where I would use it, you can grind it up, make it into a flour, and then make your tortilla corn bread or nachos or whatever. That I would use it for, and I have a press. And Andre would enjoy that. And corn, if you're trying to put on weight, like for Amari's sake, you know, I don't I don't cook with a lot of corn, right? And we don't eat a lot of processed foods and stuff. So, you know, I just thought, if you're trying to gain weight or bring in more calories, that's what it is. If you're trying to bring in more calories into your diet, corn is at the top of the list, okay? It's very high in calories. So that's good for Amari, okay? So I bought it for the kids, really, I did. And just because once all this is out, a few more things are out, then we're going to get into grinding of wheat, grinding of cornmeal now, because I got 50 pounds, right? Making tortillas and whatever, okay? I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I just know that that's something my kids would eat if we got to making corn tortillas, right? And maybe nachos or something like that, okay? And then I got 25 pounds, same company, nut.com, 25 pounds of black eyed peas. And when I bought those, I thought of Amari, because black eyed peas are one of the beans that are the most easily digestible. Okay? I haven't been getting into eating a lot of beans yet because, things, and right? And also, too, before you jump into that, I think it would be wise to try and introduce it into your diet slowly, because it's a food source that, if your stomach's not used to it, can be an issue, right? And we don't eat a lot of beans either, although I have a lot of beans for food security, people, right? Because I can feed my family for quite a long time and still pay my rent. At this point, okay, we've got the food security, good to go, right? We know the housing situation has been smoothed over. I'm thinking to give my landlords an extra $50 a month. Just round it off at an even Steven 2,000. Okay? Because I know when my landlady did ask me to increase the rent, she wasn't really satisfied with $50, right? She wanted more. And that was about 6-7 months ago. And then when I was talking to my quote-unquote real landlord, he threw out that number. He wasn't asking for anything. He just threw out that number. So, in good faith, people, I'm going to see if my son wants to chip in. And if not, I'll probably just work it in myself. Because even though I don't feel very relaxed right now, I know I can just relax and focus on what I need to do, okay? I don't have to worry about packing up and taking things to court and, growing my own devil horns and all this other shit, or having a nervous breakdown, or listening to my jars all smashing in a bin. I don't have to worry about any of that. I'm still a little traumatized by it, but I'm more traumatized about what's coming next. Who's going to try and derail me next, okay? So, before I worry about that, though, I'm going to take care of business right now and just keep pushing forward. So, one way to build in stability is sometimes just don't rock the boat, right? And, and in terms of, I don't know, I don't even want to get into it. I know my landlords are losing money by having me here, but long-term having me here, maybe not so, because there's stability, right? They can depend on their rent. They don't have to worry about coming back and finding out that the basement turned into a fucking shack and it became a mutiny and I couldn't control it even in my own house, people. Okay? I went through that shit when Julian was doing what Julian was doing, bringing his homies in and out, in and out, in and out, with his sister now on the internet talking about I allowed that to fucking happen. No, those boys took a baseball bat to my oldest son because my oldest son was trying to run everybody out. I was running everybody out. Other people will come and Shemaze, whoever, run them out. And they kept coming back because Julian was selling drugs. It only takes one. And now, half of them are all dead. Go figure. Including my own daughter. So, you know, who wants that? Again, nobody. So, we know what we're doing. We're going to start having music in the background. To heck with YouTube. Okay? We'll deal with it when it happens in terms of copyright. Okay? Because that's the best thing for Amari's brain. Right? This doctor said I wasn't obligated to do it. Right? So, you know, maybe he just wants to say hello. Right? I don't know. They base it on their own, what the government pays for and how often. Like, okay, for example, here's another issue coming up. And I'm not a guy, so I don't understand this issue, okay? Never even thought about it, okay? I don't know if it's because Amari's disabled or what, but what's the issue? Oh, God. How was I going to get into that subject? Well, just doctors in general, like, okay, like, when he goes for this hip surgery, they want x-rays on him every 6 months, people. I don't like that. And they want to continue doing it once a year, right up until adulthood, okay? That's too many, like 2 times a year until he's 18. That's too many, right? So, Tisha takes him. They do whatever they do. I guess they take a little, you know, pad there and they cover up his private areas, right? To protect it from the radiation. But what I've noticed, people, this is what I've noticed, and I've mentioned this to Sierra, to Tisha. Why do I keep saying Sierra? This a couple times her name came up on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, you go for his x-ray, you come back next day or so, or when he's in contact with all these people, because they undress him. They want to undress him and weigh him. And, you know, like, he's 4 years old. Why are you undressing him to weigh him? Like, that's just fucking, right? But anyway, okay. So they, you know, like, oh my Lord, I get angry, people, because if he was a normal, quote unquote, normal child, this wouldn't be happening to him. So, you know, when that time when he was going to all these people, from this person to this person to this person, having fucking x-rays, and then get to the hospital and they want to do another fucking x-ray, and this is his groin area because they're x-raying his hips. Like, it's just too much. So his testicles were kind of, you know, shriveling up. Right? And I said to Tisha, like, what the fuck? Like, that didn't happen until till these people. Whether it's the x-rays or whether it's coming into contact with different people. I don't know what instigated it, people, but it didn't happen until he came into contact with them. And it happens periodically. Now, we know that when men get cold, or, you know, they come into cold air or whatever it is, they can go like this, right? But I guess for children to adolescents, some of them suffer with the testicles going up into the scrotum, and then I guess they don't drop back down, right? It could be a problem, which could go into surgery. But it's something that they monitor because of, he's still growing, right? Right? Again, I never ever thought about it, people. Right? I can't even imagine. Okay? This is new information. This came in yesterday when Tisha brought him back. Apparently the doctor noticed it, but I had already noticed it, people. I noticed it when he'd come back from these appointments. I don't know if he came into something that was, you know, shedding. You know how they say people are shedding? And he picked up on something and that was a reaction to the shedding? You know, right? Other males were having that problem. Other males were males, real men, were having that problem. And now Amari seems to have that problem. But the house is cold, right? You know, my hands are cold, right? Not you, right? So, you know, take off his diaper. He's laying there. He's in the cold air. You know, I touch his legs, you know, right? Whatever. And, you know, right? So to me, but it was too pronounced. You see, that's the thing. It was too pronounced, and it was, you know, just very noticeable to the point where I mentioned it to Tisha a couple of times. Well, now it's been brought to the attention of the doctor. He noticed it. So I Googled what I could, and at this point, because he told Tisha he's just going to monitor it, right? And that's all they can do at this point. But this is where I come in, that daily grind, okay? This is where I come in, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what's provoking it? If I was a boy, had something between my legs, disabled, and what would instigate that to happen faster? Whereas if I was just a little boy running around with pants on, okay, right? You know, it's not like Amari can run around with pants on and things just go with gravity naturally. His is always in a diaper, and then when you put him in seating, there's types of seats that they develop, people. I'm thinking freaking hard here, because, you know, I don't want my grandson to have surgery there now. Right? Just because of other things that are instigating it, like going for another MRI when he doesn't need it, to find out that after that, 3 months down the line, he starts developing seizures. And then, of course, because it happened 3 months after the MRI, the doctor won't take no responsibility for it. Now, would he? No. He'll just want to do another MRI to find out what the fuck is going on. So in this situation, it's a no-no. We already talked about that when I first met you. And it's important that I play these records for Amari, because his mind is growing, and it will help him. But now I have another issue I have to think about. And that's, well, what's provoking this? And I can already say, I think diapers, perpetual diapers, could do it, are doing it. I think the type of seating that they create for children with cerebral palsy, with something right in the middle between the legs, where, because he tends to slide a little, it's pushing all the time, pushing, it's holding. So, you know, even though maybe I have him in the wheelchair, he seems content. Maybe he could sit there for 3 hours and he wouldn't squawk because he's happy, but maybe 3 hours is too long. For us, it's fine. But we're not sitting with something between our legs, sitting like this and not really, right? It's constant pressure. I'm thinking maybe that could be instigating it. But where I noticed it, though, people, was when he was coming in from these appointments. It didn't happen until he started coming in from these appointments, whether it was the x-rays. I always said, Tisha, after you do these x-rays with him, I don't know, something's happening. And then take him out to go see whatever team, and, you know, they want to undress him and weigh him, and, right, you know, then he comes home and I go to change him and it's all shriveled up. Like, why? And now the doctor's noticing it. Because that's what they do. Doctors check for things. That's normal. Okay? And, I mean, there's nothing he can do at this point, but I'm wondering, well, what can I do? What can I do to not agitate it, to give him a more natural state of being where let gravity do its nature? But with Amari, it's really hard, right? Because you have to strap him in and whatnot, right? So this is my game plan. Now, I've been saying this for a long time, too, and I haven't done it. Right? But I got it. I've got the cloth diapers, and I can make a few rubber pants. It shouldn't be that hard to make a few rubber pants because you can't buy them anymore, right? And just get on with some cloth diapers, even if it's just for during the day, right? One, they're softer. They feel different. They conform to the body different, right? I could double diaper every now and then for that hip situation. It's just, you know, I'm like, well, where am I going to put the diaper pill? And when I die, who's gonna pick up after me? Who the fuck is going to want to wash diapers, people? You know, it takes a pretty strong woman to get into that routine. I had 5 kids. I washed diapers from a pail for 7.5 years out of all my kids. None of my kids fucking grew up in Pampers or any of that crap. Okay? They grew up in freaking cloth diapers. I used to go out in public with cloth diapers when I would go, you know, take the kids. And they all potty trained early on in life. Some were 2, some were 2.5. Will Amari be a completely potty trained? No, I don't think so. But then, who knows? I don't know. It depends. It depends if he notices. But the thing is, he's hard to pick up and he's getting heavier, so he'd have to learn how to use a bedpan. Is he capable of doing that? I don't know. I guess it really depends on how determined he is to keep his diaper dry, because he likes it. But he won't know until I put one on, and he has to distinguish what it feels like between wet and dry. Pampers and those kind of things, they can't. Right? And they're constricting, you know? So I think I'm going to have to just get on that like ASAP. I think that's one step. I think the other step is, you know, versus using the chair for 3 hours, even though he doesn't look like he's complaining, like the wheelchair, for example, you know, even though it doesn't look like he's complaining, maybe shortening the intervals and spread it out throughout the day versus just that constant pressure, because I don't want to be agitating this, right? And it's hard to navigate around keeping him comfortable. Right? So that's what's going on. That's what's going on. Right? So I have to find some time to clear off my turntable and just start playing some music. And get on with diapers here. I have to cut them. I have the fabric. I bought it years and years and years ago when Andre was a baby. I still have it. Beautiful cotton for diapers. I feel so blessed to have it. You don't know. It's just a matter of cutting them and serging them. It's best if I serge them, but we know what my sewing room looks like. As if I can get back and using a serger ASAP. Oh, I already forgot how to use a serger, people. But it's at the top of my list. Right? And I can, what do you call it? What can I do? See how tired I am? That's went out the door, that whatever I was thinking. I'm trying to tell myself, just pace yourself through this. You're gonna have a good day. You get lots done. I want all my trays done. I even pulled out my other dehydrator. So I'm gonna be doing this pretty hardcore for the next few days anyway, because I want to get those apples done. I'm not gonna be wasteful, people. Right? Okay. So, alright, I think I'm just going to end this video. You know what I'm doing. Nothing fancy. Alright, aren't those just lovely?